How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Yes, my royal family. That's a true title. Yes, it is. And I'm just warning y'all, my royal family, this video gonna be greasy. Gonna be real greasy. So we have here is Samuel Okposo, and he's up in Toronto, Canada. And he likes throwing shit, royal shit, at the enemy. It is what it is, my royal family. And I'm going to take y'all on this journey. And I forgot the name of the person, but on my True Royal channel, a brother, I know it was a brother, he put the link to this. And I said, I'm going to follow this and see how this going to go. Well, so far, it has ended. But boy, what a journey. So, let's get into it. This is November 25th, 2019.
Toronto police are investigating after two separate disturbing incidents at university libraries over the weekend. Both cases involved a liquid containing feces being dumped on a student. Now, the first incident happened here at Robarts Library at the University of Toronto. Earlier today, we spoke to one witness who saw the whole thing.
I was definitely traumatized and very disgusted by this very lowly act.
It happened on Friday evening around 5. Jason Huang was sitting in the cafeteria on the second floor of Robarts Library when he saw the incident unfold.
I saw this tall man wearing a yellow construction hat bringing a bucket, and then he was walking in a faster than regular pace, and then he just went in a walkway, seems like it was random, and he just poured the whole content of the bucket onto the person's head. Like a meter radius surrounding that guy is all covered in this puddle of brownish liquid.
Huang describes the man as in his 20s or 30s, tall and skinny, and says he ran away afterwards. He says the victim was a male Chinese student. It wasn't until a few minutes passed that the students in the cafeteria realized what the liquid was.
And it was a really foul smell. It's something like if you were working at a construction site, one of those mobile bathrooms, and you just went in there, a very concentrated feces-like smell.
A U of T spokesperson says the university is supporting Toronto Police's investigation. In a statement, they write, "As a public university, we work to make the resources of our libraries as open as possible. What happened was shocking, and assistance was provided to those affected." But just 2 days later, a similar incident, this time at York University's Scott Library. The university confirmed in a statement at approximately 5 p.m. yesterday, an unknown male entered Scott Library and deposited a substance suspected of containing fecal matter on a student. York University Security Services responded to the incident. We have reached out to the victim of the assault to offer support. These videos circulating on social media appear to show a desk with a laptop and chair covered in the substance. Now, just moments ago, Toronto police released these images of the suspect in the York University assault. You can see the large bucket the man is carrying. Police say the man poured the bucket of liquefied fecal matter onto an unsuspecting person before fleeing on foot. Now, because these two cases are so similar in nature, the one here at U of T and at York University, police are investigating them as potentially related, and they're also thinking it could be the same suspect. So if that suspect is found, they could end up facing assault charges as a result.
Ooh, that's nasty. Oh, Samuel Okposo, what you do that for to them people? They ain't that do minding their business and they're trying to study. What's really going on with you? Throwing shit all over the enemy. Oh, shit, this is nasty. But as we continue on my royal family.
Let's bring you more on that story in Toronto. It is not one I can ever remember discussing, Michael. It is rare. It is most disturbing. Michael Serapi with more detail on what Toronto police are now investigating.
Yeah, and we should say, you've already mentioned it once, but the subject matter is stomach turning no matter what time of day we're talking about this. But the latest incident in terms of a feces attack did happen late last night in Toronto. You're looking right now at a photo of the cleanup that's happening near the intersection of University Avenue and College Street, just south of the U of T. And this is around also the Ontario Legislature. It happened just before midnight. The suspect dumping feces on a woman. A Home Depot bucket that was carrying the disgusting matter was left at scene, and police are now looking for a suspect. This is the description: a black male, said to be in his 30s, tall with a medium build. He was wearing a yellow construction hat, blue shirt and gloves. Last night's attack following 2 earlier incidents. The first one taking place last Friday in the cafeteria section of the Robarts Library at the University of Toronto. As you said, Heather, the downtown campus of U of T. Fecal matter thrown on a student there. Witnesses saying the perpetrator ran away laughing after the attack. Take a listen to what one witness had to say.
Everyone was done first, and then we wanted to make sure if the guy was okay. But then the smell hit around 1 or 2 minutes after. And then everyone was just trying to leave because the smell was really, really unbearable. If you've ever been to one of those construction sites, the mobile bathrooms in there, it's like that. It's like a very concentrated foul smell.
And then on Sunday at the Scott Library at York University, another attack involving a student and another bucket filled with what has been described as liquefied fecal matter. Now, police did release photos of the suspect in that case. The question right now, is this the same suspect involved in last night's attack? Is this the same suspect involved in all 3 incidents? At last word, Toronto police are right now looking into links between the 2 earlier attacks. We're now reaching out to Toronto police. We've been trying to get them all morning to see if they are trying to link this third one to the others. Certainly there are similarities between these attacks, but all of them happening around university campuses in Toronto in the last few days or so.
This is not just a disgusting prank. This is something with dangerous health risks attached to it, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, because you were talking to Dr. Gupta in the last hour, we turned to Dr. Samir Gupta ourselves in the commercial break and asked him about the risk. And he said there are risks. When you talk about fecal matter, you're talking about 80% by weight of bacteria. Take a listen to what more he had to say.
Well, the obvious concern is infection, particularly, for example, if it gets into the eyes, it can cause a local infection in the eyes. If it gets onto an open wound, that can be very dangerous. If those bacteria find their way into the bloodstream, that can cause a very serious infection. And importantly, it's not only bacteria, but if somebody is sick and their feces has, for example, parasites in it or sometimes viruses in it, if that gets into the mouth and gets into the person's digestive tract, that's how many of these organisms are spread.
So you heard it right there. Parasites, bacteria, any number of vectors of infection. So it really does underline the seriousness of this crime and another aspect to these assaults.
All right. We'll be back in contact with Toronto police to see if there are any advances in their investigation. Michael, thank you very much.
Ooh, that's nasty. Samuel, what's going on with you? Why are you throwing shit at the enemy? Did something happen? Is it your mental health? You couldn't take it no more. They didn't give a brother a job. They didn't accept you at the university. I mean, black folks don't just throw shit just because they throw shit. But you never know. You get affected by the system. They racist up there in Canada. I'm doing wrong. I gotta laugh. Oh. Ooh. Well. I got something to read down the road as we continue on.
How is it possible that this guy hasn't been identified yet? His pictures appeared in all major media.
You know, something like this we deal with all the time for all kinds of crimes. Whether it's people who haven't seen it, people who don't believe it possibly could be the person that they know that looks similar to that. But we are asking everyone to please take a look, as we do in all of our public appeals. Please take a look and help us identify this person. We want to get to this person to stop future reoccurrences, and also, if it's the criminal system that they need, great. If it's mental health, we need to get them that help too.
So you said a little bit of stuff about this. What do you think about it?
It's more of the act of one person who just doesn't really care for humanity. It's been 3 Asian students, which is kind of the big fear around here, is that it's more of a hate crime rather than just 3 random attacks. Other than that.
And you guys still have about 1 week worth of school left, right?
Yeah,
Before that Christmas break. you think there'll be more of these before Toronto Police maybe catch this person, or what do you think?
Now at least there's photos of him, so students are going to be at least able to see him before he attacks, hopefully, or there'll be a little more notice, but I hope he's caught before it happens. I think everyone does.
So we actually were able to seize the bucket from last night's event, the event that took place just before midnight. That has been seized now and has been sent for forensic testing.
Just said the ultimate word, gross.
Yes.
There's been 3 attacks now. I mean, other than saying gross, how does it make you feel?
Disappointed. I mean, like, we're all grown-ups here, all studying, and it's disgusting, it's sad. Yeah.
And that all the victims are Asian, so is this considered, is the Asian community being targeted?
I think that we need to take a step back from the Asian portion, because although all the victims appear as though they are from Asia, we have Southeast Asians, and we also have West Asians. So I wouldn't necessarily say that all the victims were Chinese, right? Because it wasn't.
Oh, he got their ass. Homeboy. Well, let's see what happens here. Before I play this video. Is it this video? Let me see. Wait a minute. Let me make sure. Is it this one? Or is it that one? I don't want to lose sight. I think this is the one. Or did I get... Oh, yeah. This is the one. So, Toronto man accused in feces attack appears briefly in court. Uh-oh. They done got his ass. A man accused of tossing liquid feces on people in 3 separate incidents across Toronto over the past week has been remanded in custody until a court appearance scheduled next week. An investigation was launched last week after it was reported that an unknown man walked in the University of Toronto Roberts Library on Friday evening and dumped a bucket of liquefied fecal royal shit matter on 2 students seated at a table. And I don't care what, they was trying to be politically correct, but they threw it at some Asians. And what does it say here? 2 similar incidents which occurred reported at the Scott Library at York University Keele campus on Sunday outside of UNT building near College Street University Ave late Monday night. In total, police said 5 people was assaulted. Students and members of a large community expressed shock and disgust over the disturbing incidents, said Mayor John Troy, who called the behavior inexplicable. In an effort to identify the man responsible, investigators released security camera images earlier this week for a possible suspect. On Tuesday night, police confirmed that after receiving a number of tips, an arrest has been made in the case. And his name is Samuel Abuko. So, let's watch this video.
The search is over. Now the questions begin. The suspect in a string of revolting assaults making his first court appearance this afternoon, accused of throwing human waste on unsuspecting victims.
The 23-year-old was picked up by police last night. He is now facing a series of charges.
His appearance drawing such interest today, the proceedings were moved to a larger courtroom. CTV's Scott Lightfoot is live downtown tonight. Scott, you were in that courtroom. What did we learn?
Well, Michelle, we learned from court records that this is not the first time Samuel Abuko has been arrested or faced criminal charges, and we also learned that, at least for the time being, he will remain in custody. Samuel Abuko spent most of his brief court appearance with his head down, staring at the floor.
He was in shock. I think that's probably a fair characterization.
The 23-year-old was arrested last night, just hours after police released this photo.
It's all just a pretty big shock to me. I'm not quite sure why or what the motives are or where the bucket has come from, but it's pretty disturbing.
This man says he recognized Opoku from a downtown homeless shelter. Opoku is now facing 5 counts of assault with a weapon and 5 counts of mischief. The charges stem from 3 incidents where a man approached students and dumped a bucket of liquefied feces on them. The first incident happened late Friday afternoon at the Robarts Library at U of T. The second happened late Sunday afternoon at the Scott Library at York. And the final incident happened just before midnight on Monday when a girl walking along College Street was attacked. In that case, the attacker left behind his bucket. Police released photos of the suspect from both York and U of T surveillance cameras, and around 6 last night, Opoku was taken into custody. Opoku's court appearance lasted only a matter of minutes. A publication ban prevents us from telling you what happened inside the room, but we can tell you that so many curious U of T students showed up here at court today that the proceedings actually had to be moved to a larger courtroom.
I really wanted some kind of reasoning, some kind of explanation, and just to see that there was something being done to make sure that whatever is occurring on campus is being prevented or stopped completely.
Opoku's lawyer wouldn't discuss if his client had mental health issues.
Well, certainly the nature of the allegations suggest that.
But he did say Opoku was fully aware of the situation and the charges against him.
There's no fitness concerns at all. He obviously understands the nature of the proceedings, absolutely.
As for those on university campuses who've been looking over their shoulders for the past few days, tonight a sense of relief, even if there are still many questions to be answered.
That's what I was hoping to get from here. Unfortunately, that's not what we got, and maybe it's not something we'll ever get, because really, what really leads somebody to do this kind of thing?
And Akopo's lawyer says he understands the outrage that the city has had at these crimes, but he stresses the full facts in this case have not been made public. Akopo will be back in court next Tuesday. 20 Live, I'm Scott Lightfoot. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Scott.
Ooh, that was nasty. But the question, my royal family. Okay, let me take this down. Let me take this all down. Okay. The question, my royal family, is why? Why would he do such a thing? Didn't he target certain people? Why? Well, as we continue on, my royal family, I'll tell you why I think why Samuel was, throwing roll shut. But let's listen to this last video.
The man accused of hurling buckets of feces on unsuspecting students made his first court appearance today. 23-year-old Samuel Opoku is facing numerous charges, including assault with a weapon and mischief. Greg Ross has the latest from Toronto.
Samuel Opoku was here for a bail hearing after being arrested last night. As you know, this story has been reverberating around the university campuses where these attacks took place. And word of this hearing also spread very quickly. In fact, there were probably a couple of dozen university students who were here wanting to be in that courtroom this morning. They tell me they wanted to see what was going to happen. It was a hearing that lasted only 10 minutes. The accused, Samuel Opoku, spent most of it hunched forward in his seat with his head hanging down, staring at the floor. A publication ban prevents us from reporting much of what was discussed in the courtroom, but afterwards, Opoku's lawyer said this about his client.
He was in shock. I think that's probably a fair characterization. Understandably, to say the least, it's not a pleasant situation to be sitting in a courtroom with the public scrutiny that he's currently having to endure. And it's obviously overwhelming, as it would be for anybody.
Opoku is accused of 3 separate attacks. This video was captured in the aftermath of an attack Sunday night at York University. There were also attacks on Friday and Monday at the University of Toronto campus. In each case, unsuspecting students had what is believed to be feces dumped on them.
It's almost unexplainable, right? Like, why would somebody grab a bucket of poop and dump it on somebody's head, some innocent person's head?
These University of Toronto students were among the large group that packed the courtroom this morning, wanting to get a glimpse of the man that was arrested for this vile act. Why was it important for you to be here today?
I think as students, we just really needed some closure and some explanations.
Second-year law student Ruth Masuka says over the 5 days the attacks occurred, students felt unsafe on their own campuses.
The aftermath of this, you can still feel it, but I think the fact that he is in custody kind of gives us like relief, like, oh, you know, there is something that happened out of this.
There have been some questions raised about Opoku's mental health, something his lawyer could not shed any light on today, but did say this.
There's no fitness concerns at all. He obviously understands the nature of the proceedings, absolutely.
There was no decision made today on whether or not Opoku will get bail. This hearing was adjourned until December 3rd, and Opoku will remain in custody until at least then. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Oh my goodness. So you mean tomorrow we gonna find out some old stuff about Opoku throwing shit at Asians? But on a serious note, my royal family, why? Why? The question is why? Well, I had a conversation with Dr. Rick Wallace about our mental health and how the enemy continues to do what the enemy do and the enemy's supporters. And that I can feel in the depths of my soul that our folks cannot take it no more mentally being subjugated in this system. Now, this system is worldwide. Now, in different parts of the world, you may feel it in different levels. There is a reason why Samuel Opoku did what he did. And I do question his mental health, because it is not normal to throw shit, liquefied shit that you collect and you got to smell your damn self and do that. Was he rejected in that system in Toronto? How long he's been up there? He's quite young. He's 23. So how long he's been there? Has he been there all his life? You know, what's really going on, my royal family? I know I will be doing a follow-up on this. You know, I banter back and forth, you know, make light of certain things, because the enemy walks around and their supporters like they are invincible, like they cannot be touched, and have no regard for black folks in general. And we are not all alike. And some of our folks that come from wherever they come, not the people that was born into it, they react a different type of way. They subject to do anything. So you don't know what we may do. Even the ones that are born into this shithole. Yeah, that's basically it. So for somebody to have that much hatred for a particular race of people, something happened. Something affected his psyche. So the question that I asked the Moore royal family, what do you think affected Samuel Opoku in Toronto, Canada? If I'm wrong, you can tell me. You know, I ain't gonna trip. We can banter back and forth respectfully. But I'm just surmising, my royal family, that ain't just something you just get up in the morning and say, you know, I'm gonna start saving some shit, some piss. I'm gonna let it ferment. And the very people that I despise the most, that have affected my immediate situation the most, I'm going to douse them with liquefied royal shit. So my royal family, render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.